10 days ago, this is Stephen A. Smith.
If you're a Republican, if you're the GOP, I mean, the big, beautiful bill was just passed, even though the deficit is going to escalate from 3.3 trillion over 5 trillion, assuming you believe the Congressional Budget Office and all of this other stuff. I mean, with all of these things that's going on, with the 2017 tax cuts reserved, with so much stuff that's going on that the left didn't want to happen, that you on the right said you wanted to happen, with the borders being closed, supposedly that being handled, with migrants being escorted out of this country in droves, according to you, and what you wanted. You're in an uproar off the Epstein list. That's all you've got. It's really, really surprising that this matters. Of course, I think there's a list, but I don't know. I suspect, but I have no knowledge, nor do I care. It's Friday night. I'm getting ready to go out and enjoy myself. I'm getting ready to have a nice weekend. I can give a damn about the Epstein client list. It has no effect on me whatsoever. I have a life. I don't understand for the life of me why this matters so much to these. I'm talking about people losing it. They're crying on camera. They're talking about resignations. They're pissed off about everything. I'm like, really? With all the stuff going on in this country, with all the power that you possess because of the cachet and the influence you have because of your connection to this administration, that's why you upset at Trump. I didn't blame Trump one bit for looking at them and saying, really? That really matters to you? That's really that important? Now, maybe he had a different reason for saying it, trying to be evasive or whatever. I don't know. But I do know this. In the grand scheme of things, it ain't going to affect the lives of over 200 to 300 million Americans. I think we'll be just fine without knowing whether or not there was really, really a client list.
Now, that was Stephen A. Smith 10 days ago. Now, Stephen A. is a classic fence sitter. Stephen A. doesn't stand for anything specifically in politics. He stands for absolutely nothing. So he's always flip-flopping his positions. That was 10 days ago. Now here's Stephen A. Smith today talking about President Trump.
Well, I think it's the president being petty. I think it's him being evasive because the reality is that no matter how good he wants people to believe things are with the big, beautiful bill and other things that have been transpiring, tariff wars, the border issues or whatever, if you're on the right, obviously you're happy with a lot of things that are going on. And there's nothing to take credit away from that. I leave the political evaluations to other people. But nevertheless, there are millions upon millions of people in the United States of America that are not necessarily happy with some of the things that he's doing. So what does he do? He caters to his base because when you look at the Redskins name, obviously it's something that needed to be changed. And by him bringing that issue up, we all know from a political landscape, it's much ado about nothing. It's just him catering to his base to make sure that he serves to appease them in some way, to distract them from other issues, including the Epstein files, by the way, because a lot of people for the
You just said you don't care about it. You just said you don't care about it. It doesn't matter to you. It's completely made up and it's stupid and why are people worried about it? And now you're saying that Trump is going after the Redskins name to distract from the Epstein files. Holy shit.
With the MAGA right want those files released. And you even have Republican representatives on the Hill wanting those files released, wanting to see for themselves because they're not buying what the administration is saying when they say that there's absolutely nothing there. But I think it's important to
That is amazing. That is an amazing and incredible flip-flop from Stephen A. Smith right there. And that's why the conversation on the Epstein stuff to me is, for me anyway, is specifically about the administration's handling of it, which I think has been disastrous, to say the least. It's been a complete and total disaster on every single level. Now, that's fine. We can have that discussion. I think the Trump administration has handled it terribly. Now, when you start talking about the people out there that claiming that, Trump is on the list and that's why he's hiding it, shut up. Okay, you're an idiot. You're retarded. Or the people that say that he's working for Israel to cover it up. Again, retarded. Then you have the Democrats that are claiming they want the Epstein files released, yet you didn't say anything about the Epstein files for 4 years when Biden was in office. Then you have the big YouTubers that never talk about politics unless they can bring an anti-Trump narrative into it. And they're all talking about the Epstein stuff right now. Yet none of those YouTubers that never talk about politics until they can talk about Trump and the Epstein files. None of them brought up the Epstein files when Joe Biden was in office. None of them. None of them brought up the Epstein files. None of them were concerned with the Epstein files. And then Trump gets in office and suddenly they all care about the Epstein files. Magically, suddenly they care about the Epstein files. But they're not talking about the Obama news that happened, but they'll talk about the Epstein stuff because they don't actually care. They only care about the anti-Trump narrative that they can build around it. I care about holding the administration accountable for their own actions. So when you say, well, Jeremy, you didn't talk about the Epstein stuff until Trump got in office either. Yes, because the Trump administration did bring those influencers to the White House and gave them the Epstein binder, which I thought was a disastrous situation. They did that. They rolled it out. They called it phase one. They made themselves look stupid. And that's what I am criticizing. Because as I've said, you would have been better off just saying nothing at all. But you look like idiots when you did that. So anyway, that's just an interesting kind of perspective where Stephen A. 10 days ago says he doesn't care about Epstein, doesn't care about the list, and he can't believe people are making a big deal of it. And now Trump is going after the Washington Redskins and the Cleveland Indians, and suddenly Stephen A. says, well, he's doing that as a distraction from the Epstein list. Like, what? How do you do that 10 days apart? It's absolutely incredible.